Hey guys, it's Cora. So today I want to talk about something a little exciting. This past month, well, I guess it's May now, so not last month, but the month before, in March, I got to go to Boston, Massachusetts for my birthday. And I got to take my mom along with me, which is really cool because I got to do something fun for my mom. And I journaled about it and I took a bunch of videos. So I'm going to try to do a fun little, as I flip through, I'm going to show some of the cool videos I got and kind of talk about what was happening and stuff. And it's really exciting because I have never been further north than the Great Smoky Mountains and Tennessee. My journal for Boston takes about this much room of this insert, but it feels like a lot longer. We only had 2 full days and 2 half days in Boston. And usually it would suck when your plane gets delayed, but luckily because ours got delayed a little bit, we had a little more time out on the town. So we went to Boston from March 24th to March 27th of this year, and it was really cool. So I had a plan for everything, which of course not everything went according to plan, but it's nice to have kind of like an outline of what you're gonna do. And it was my mom's first time flying also, which it was really cool because I got to experience that with her. We were staying at the Boston Park Plaza, and we stayed in the the smallest room possible, which had me a little nervous, but it actually wasn't too bad. It was a cozy little room, just perfect for 2 of us, and the location was great, and the hotel itself was very pretty, and I got a really good discount on it through my work website, which is pretty cool. So the first day, we checked into the hotel, of course, and we got all checked in, and I immediately drug my mom back out to explore. It was both of our first time riding a subway. This isn't the original map. I have the original map of the T in with my map box, and I just made a copy of it to put in here. It was both of our first time riding a subway, which was very cool, and it was a lot more smooth. Well, not the train itself, but the process was a lot more smooth than I had expected it to be. I was a little nervous about it. And I was nervous that when I got on, we wouldn't be able to figure out where to go, but it's very self-explanatory, especially once you get the hang of it. So we were staying, I put a little heart at the station we used the most because Park Plaza is literally right beside the Arlington station, which is cool because we didn't have to go very far to get on the T. And we rode it quite a few times while we were here. They are squeakier than I expected them to be. They scream, especially the green line. The green line screams very much, which it didn't freak me out or anything. It's just unexpected and it was funny, really. I think you can get a reloadable Charlie card, but I didn't think we'd use it that much, and so I just got a bunch of Charlie tickets because then you can journal with them and it's cute. Okay, so this was our first full day in Boston. We got up very early because the museums at Harvard opened at 9 in the morning, and I thought if we get to a museum at 9 in the morning and we get through it, then we can get done by 11 maybe, eat lunch, and then we'll be at the other museum I want to go to with enough time to spend time there, and then maybe go do something else later in the day. Things, of course, did not go to plan. You can't expect everything to go to plan when you travel. So the museum we went to in Harvard was the Harvard Museum of Natural History, which also is connected to the Peabody Museum of Archaeology and Ethnology. It's a very, very cool museum, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. They had a lot of really, really cool items in their collections. So I put my map of Harvard Square in one of these little clear things from Traveler's Factory. This receipt acted as my ticket for the museum there, and I just put a couple pictures and a sticker. I got a postcard of the Peabody guy, George Peabody, and these are cut up from one of their brochures that they give there, and it was really cool because I got to see archaeology is something I'm very passionate about, and so is natural history, so it was very cool to go to a museum with both of these things in one. And I got to see a lot of bones, a lot of dinosaurs, a lot of pinned butterflies and moths, and they also had an exhibit about sharks this time. Actually, it says new exhibition, so I don't know if it was temporary or permanent, but I was very happy to see it either way. It was very cool. So here is where plans went awry, which halfway or all the way has to do with me not checking beforehand whether this museum I wanted to go to had timed entry or not. And this museum had timed entry and specific times for specific tickets that you had to get in advance. I wanted so badly to go to the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum while we were there, but I did not plan correctly ahead, and we did not get to go. We got all the way there. We left Harvard, went all the way down the red line, and then transferred to the green line, got all the way down to where the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum is, got all the way there with a sign out front that said sold out for the day, which was disheartening, I'm not gonna lie. Made me a little sad for a minute. It had started to rain, and it was March, so it was cold, so it hailed a little bit on us while we were waiting on the train back the other way. But while we were waiting on the train, we did see this across the street, a free art museum for the Mass Arts Art Museum. And there's only like 2 or 3 exhibits in there, but they were still really cool to go see, and it was a nice way to get warm and still see some art. And when we got back out, we were pretty much just in time for the next green line train going back the way we needed to go. And because we missed out on here's a fun thing. So even when things don't go to plan, sometimes nice surprises are around the corner. Because we didn't get to go to either of those museums, and now we were out of something to do for the rest of the day, we got to see the public library, which I was scared we wouldn't have enough time to go see, and we got to take a good stroll down Newbury Street. We walked a little bit down Newbury Street that first evening, but definitely we did not have enough time to really go down to the very end of it, which is something I wanted to do. It was very cool to see the library. The artistry inside this library was breathtaking. It was just so gorgeous. It's hard to believe that it's an actual library and not a museum itself, which I guess it kind of doubles as both in a way. There's a map museum in here, which was very cool, but we didn't have time to check that out because the library would have closed before we had time to check that out. And Newbury Street was very cool because I got to go to a Fjallraven store. Super obsessed with that. I got to go to a Muji for the first time, and just the architecture along the street is just absolutely gorgeous also. I got 7-Eleven for the first time. Me and my mom got a big pizza, and I had some taquitos, and yeah, I just had to document the fact that I had 7-Eleven food for the first time, which is very cool. So then, our second full day on the 26th, that was the Freedom Trail Day, and man, did I have a doozy of a day in store for my mother. We walked almost 40,000 steps this day. For the most part, we did not take public transportation except for a ferry near the end. We took a ferry back from Charleston down to the north end, sort of like where right below the north end, right by Quincy Market and where the aquarium is there. But for the most part, we walked all the city that day, and I really wore my mom out, but she's a trooper, so it's cool. Started out, it was very cool because our hotel is like basically right next to the Public Garden and the Boston Common, and the Boston Common is where the Freedom Trail starts. This was one of the main things I was very excited about going to Boston, because when I was a child, I was very, very obsessed with the Revolutionary War, and specifically Benjamin Franklin and Paul Revere for some reason. I know Benjamin Franklin has a statue in Boston, and his parents are buried here in Boston, which that was very cool to see. I got to see a lot of really key moments in Paul Revere's role in the Revolutionary War and his grave, which was very cool also. But I'm getting ahead of myself. As a true Dunkin' junkie, I was so excited to go to Boston also because there was a Dunkin' Donuts around every single corner, and that was very cool. And I took pictures of every single one we went into. It was very cool to see the old graveyards. It was very cool to get to see one that old in New England. I've seen a very old one in Savannah, and that one was very gorgeous also. I love cemeteries. So before we really set out onto the whole trail, we took a detour to Acorn Street, and over there towards Beacon Hill and stuff. And I got one of these maps from the National Park Service there, and it's just a map of the Freedom Trail, and it has some information about it and some information about all the stops along the way. This one this one was not available until I got to Faneuil Hall, and so I paid $3 for a different Freedom Trail map that morning at the Boston Common, which kind of sucks a little bit, but it's fine. At least we didn't get lost. I am a big park stamp collector, so it was cool to be able to get the park stamps. I'm sorry if you can hear a lawnmower in the background also. Hopefully it doesn't get very loud. Faneuil Hall was very cool. I really liked going in there and then going into the Quincy Market as well. There was a lot of really, really good food there. The north end, of course, was very cool, very gorgeous. We went into a grocery store there and got some biscotti and some candies and things like that as well, which was very, very cool. We didn't eat at any of the Italian restaurants, unfortunately, just because we were on a little bit of a budget and we probably wouldn't have been able to really afford many of those, but it was still cool to like go around there. Towards the end of the Freedom Trail is the Charleston Navy Yard, which is very cool. I think the only stop we missed on the Freedom Trail was Bunker Hill. Unfortunately, we weren't going to have enough time to go up to Bunker Hill if we wanted to do everything else in the day before it got dark, and we just didn't want to be out at dark. But yeah, I got another brochure for the Charleston Navy Yard. I did not know you could go onto and into the USS Constitution. It was very cool to see the like inner workings of the ship, which I didn't even know that you were able to do that, which is very cool. And it's such an old boat too. It's so cool. And then we took the ferry from Charleston down to what's it called? They call it something, I'll remember, but right there by the aquarium. And it was my first ferry ride and my mom's first ferry ride, and it was cool to like look down and see the waves coming against the boat and then the skyline from up there. It was very nice to see it all from the harbor there. And we went back to Quincy Market to eat supper. I found this photo booth. I had looked for it diligently when we were there for lunch and I couldn't find it. And we went back for dinner and I just happened to stumble upon it, which was very cool because I'm very obsessed with photo booths and getting these little photo strips. And then the last day, we didn't have a lot of time before our flight took off, but we got to go see Chinatown. We walked a little bit towards Downtown Crossing again, and I found the Edgar Allan Poe statue by happenstance. I had completely forgotten that it was there. We were walking back to the hotel to check out, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my god, Mom, that's Edgar Allan Poe. And she was like, huh? I was like, the Edgar Allan Poe statue. So it was cool. And then we flew home. And that is pretty much the extent of my Boston trip. It wasn't very long, but there was a lot packed into those 4 days, two full days, and then like 2 half days, and it was a lot of fun. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry again about the weird noises in the background. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. And I hope you guys have a good day and take care of yourselves. Bye!